This is a PodFast summary of Lex Fridman's conversation with tech visionary Marc Andreessen, discussing the future of the internet and AI's impact on society. Imagine a world where search engines are no longer just a tool to find web pages, but a companion in our lives, engaging us in interactive conversations. AI could be the everything app that works like a pocket-sized genie, able to give anyone personalized advice with just a tap or a click. In this conversation, we explore that scenario and more, as well as some of the downsides and dangers we might have to deal with as part of this rapidly changing future. Ready? Let's dive in. Key Idea 1. The $1 trillion question. Imagine you found a magical book, a book that can write itself. Every time you open it, there's a new story, a new lesson, or a new piece of information. Fascinating, isn't it? Now replace that magical book with large language models, capable of creating their own training data. That's the heart of our $1 trillion question. Is this really useful? First, think about the potential of such a tool. It could be a wellspring of new insights and creativity, a bit like an endlessly imaginative storyteller. These language models could constantly generate fresh thoughts, ones that we humans might never have considered. But we also need to be cautious. Remember, our magical book can keep writing itself, but what if it starts repeating old stories? That's the risk with language models like GPT. They might end up rehashing existing data, not contributing any new value, but just rearranging what's already there. This is akin to an artist who only copies existing paintings without adding any original touch. One potential use of AI is to simulate the perspectives of others, giving us new data on how they might think and behave. AI-powered debaters could be set to argue against each other, each one having its own defined set of beliefs, much like how different chess players bring their unique strategies to the game. This could be especially useful for policymakers and others who need to examine an issue from all angles. Just as a chess player might study data from AI players to improve, human decision-makers and academics might learn from these debate simulations. Here's a piece of advice. If you're a user or a developer, always bear in mind the dual potential of language models. Harness their power to generate new insights and perspectives, but be conscious of their limitations and potential to regurgitate old data. Key Idea 2. The Truth Dilemma. Consider Wikipedia. Now, we all know Wikipedia isn't perfect. It's a bit like a well-meaning friend who usually gets things right, but occasionally messes up the details. And yet, it's a go-to source for many of us when we need a quick answer. Why is that? Because despite its imperfections, it gets things right often enough to be trustworthy. Similarly, a language model might sometimes go off track, but if it's designed and used correctly, it can still lead us towards truth. However, the internet can sometimes feel like a hall of mirrors, distorting and amplifying misinformation, just like cults in the past that spread false beliefs with unwavering conviction. In our age of digital connectivity, one incorrect piece of information can rapidly multiply, snowballing into an avalanche of misinformation. Now let's add another twist to the mix: different versions of truth. Andreessen warns of a scenario where countries like China could achieve AI dominance and export their AI models globally. These models may operate based on different truth norms. Imagine different countries each handing out their own versions of world maps. The contours of the continents and locations of the countries are the same, but each map has a different north. That's the potential scenario with divergent AI truth norms. Same data, different interpretations. So, what does this all mean for you, the viewer? First and foremost, always approach information, whether it comes from a language model or any other source, with a critical eye. Second, remember that AI and language models are tools created by humans and reflect our biases and perspectives. Just as you would question the bias in a news article, question the source and design of AI models. The more you understand about the technology and its worldwide impact, the better prepared you'll be to evaluate the information it generates. Key Idea 3. AI in daily life. Picture this. You're walking along a path filled with twists and turns, forks and crossroads. Now imagine you have a guide, a smart mentor who's always there, whispering advice tailored specifically for you. They help you navigate each turn, decide at each fork, and choose the right direction at every crossroad. This is the potential of language learning models as guides. Think of these AI models as your own personal advisor, sharing a continuous stream of personalized advice based on your needs and context. This not only makes life more efficient, but also has the potential to democratize access to expert advice and intelligence. Just as Google serves as a universal tool, enhancing productivity by providing information at the tip of our fingers, LLMs could provide everyone with a super smart assistant, bridging the gap between those who have access to expertise and those who don't. How can you make the most of these AI guides when they become an integral part of daily life? First, become comfortable with technology. Embrace digital literacy as a necessary language in this evolving world. The more fluent you are, the better you'll be able to interact with and utilize these AI models. Second, remember the human touch. While AI models can assist and guide, they can't replace the human capacity for empathy, emotional understanding, and intuition. Make sure to balance AI advice with human interaction and judgment. Key idea 4. The race for AI innovation. Envision this: a racetrack, crowded with some of the biggest names in technology. OpenAI, Microsoft, Google, Meta, they're all there, revving their engines, preparing to dash towards the finish line. What's at stake? Nothing less than the next killer app in AI, a technology that promises to revolutionize our lives as profoundly as the personal computer or the internet. This competition is much like the great space race of the 20th century, where countries competed to be the first to conquer the final frontier. Only this time, the race is in the realm of artificial intelligence, and the contenders aren't countries, but corporations. Each is striving to make the next big breakthrough, to launch the equivalent of the first spaceship to the moon in the world of AI. Andreessen likens the situation to the birth of the Macintosh. Steve Jobs didn't invent the personal computer, but he transformed it, turning it into something unique and extraordinary. Similarly, while Google has made a significant leap forward with the transformer model, the baton might be picked up by a newcomer, a startup that takes this foundational work and transforms it into something groundbreaking, something we can't even imagine yet. So, what does this intense race mean for you? It highlights the importance of innovation. This race isn't about who can run the fastest in a straight line. It's about who can navigate the twists and turns of unexplored territory most effectively. So, encourage innovation in your own life, whether in your work, your studies, or your hobbies. Some of the biggest tech innovations were made by small teams and ambitious startups with limited funding. It's likely that future innovations in the AI space will come from small teams like this, along with talented individuals coding the next big app from their bedroom. Key idea 5. Search engines in the age of AI. Imagine this: you're in a giant library filled with countless books, documents, and information. Traditional search engines are like librarians who guide you to the right section and point you to the shelves where you might find the information you're seeking. You still have to pull out the books and flip through the pages to find your answers. Now, envision an evolved form of this librarian, an AI that not only guides you to the right shelf, but hands you the exact piece of information you're looking for, and perhaps even explains it to you. This is one future that Andreessen envisions for AI in the realm of search. Rather than just directing us to a web page filled with blue links, AI could evolve to directly provide the answers we're seeking and even engage in interactive conversations with us. Imagine typing or speaking a question, and instead of a list of search results, you're presented with a direct answer, tailored to your query, delivered in a conversational manner. We're already seeing the emergence of this, as ChatGPT has started to disrupt search engines like Google. A future AI model could become like AOL's start page in the early days of the internet. AOL was like a one-stop shop, an everything app that catered to a wide array of user needs from news and email to games and web browsing. Similarly, future AI applications could become our everything app for seeking information, skipping the traditional search engine, and providing an interactive, conversational experience. Key idea 6. The perception of truth. Our media environment has a significant impact on our collective perception of reality. It's like using different lenses to look at the same scene. The lens can distort, magnify, or even color what we see. During the conversation, the hosts elaborate that the reality of the past would have turned out differently if those people had access to modern media technology. Imagine giving smartphones with internet access to people from the 18th century. The speed and volume of information would dramatically alter their perception of the world, which would eventually alter their actions. Similarly, our perception of reality is heavily influenced by the modern media environment. In an era of information overload, fake news, and the rapid spread of misinformation, it's becoming harder to distinguish between a truthful portrayal of reality and a distorted or biased version. This leads to a decrease in trust and an increase in skepticism, and this makes it harder to bridge the gap between both sides of the AI debate, as they have differing views of reality. Thank you for listening to this PodFast summary of the Lex Fridman podcast with Marc Andreessen. If you liked the content, please like and subscribe. See you next time.